coming, then people who are distributing books, they are unable to do many things practically without support of devotees who are in a temple. So therefore, giving class only about books would be a little bit of an unfair situation, since everybody is engaged in a mission of Lord Chaitanya, and the word Sankirtan means some means together, right? And Kirtan means chanting or glorifying Lord. So basically the Sankirtan wider meaning would be engaging everything in Krishna's glorification. But since our movement is not just glorifying Lord, as we would say the word translating, there's a little bit deeper meaning, since the whole movement is established by Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya had besides glorifying Krishna and devotees and a devotional service as such, he had quite a bit of reasons inside of him why he actually came here, besides the actual outward cause caused by Advaitacharya who called for him. But why he called for him? What was the reason? Well, the Acharya was not happy with the situation. What was what? There was no bhakti. Right. Devotees, those few devotees who were around, they were pretty dissatisfied with the situation. Since Chaitanya Bhagavata says that the Lord's name was hardly pronounced once a day. In some families who did the purification ceremony of calling upon lotus-eyed Lord, who knows the mantra. You know? Mantra. Om apavitra pavitrava sarvavastam garopiva yasmaret pundarikaksham sabhaya bhantara suchihi. So basically, the Vedic system, it is impossible to imagine connecting with the Lord. So if you want to make something pure, you do with the water or with the cow dung, but ultimate purification, those who have a little bit of a Brahminical culture understand that everything is purified with the touch of the Lord. So Ganges as such is purification power coming from the feet of the Lord. Since the universal waters washed the toe which stuck into the universe. Just the size-wise enough to penetrate the whole universe and get to the creative waters, which actually we sang just before that, is the waters of Yamuna. And Lord Krishna is Yamuna Vanachari. He's traveling, he's walking around Achari, Vanachari, in a forest close to Yamuna. And just by singing that song, just came me just a click in the mind. Why he travels around the Yamuna. Just give you a hint. When people die, in Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, they put the coins on the eyes of the people. Why is that? You heard of it? You've seen that one, right? So when you cross the river, the original river of causal ocean, or they say Yamuna, or Viraj river, from this side of the universe, from material side, when we look at the Yamuna, we call it Viraj river which separates material and spiritual world. So the person leaves the body, they put the coins for the ferryman, boatman, right? he carries across you to the other side. So who is waiting on the other side there? Yamaraj. No, Yamaraj still here. We wouldn't like to be Yamaraj there. Krishna is waiting there. And he's walking in the banks of the river, up and down, waiting when we will come there. So this is one of the meanings of Yamuna Vanachari. Krishna is just pacing up and down and waiting until the conditioned souls will come to him. But that's his shape of the Lord as the supreme person, since he cannot interfere with our independent will. So therefore, he is willing, he is very much desiring to reunite with all spirit souls, but he himself, to make perfect situation of love and interaction, he cannot do it himself. So if you say someone, "Oh, love me," what kind of instruction is that? So therefore, his desire is that love, that interaction, that feelings towards him is natural and not introduced by himself, actually. So therefore, the huge role of that plays the devotees who are absorbed in those loving interaction with Krishna. So therefore, it's always been like this in the mature world. The saintly people who are willingly come to mature world to preach, they are introducing this loving service to Krishna. Although we say, and definitely you have thought about this verse in Bhagavad Gita, that everybody who goes to spiritual world never comes back. Have you thought of that? So, how great devotees, like acharyas, like liberated souls, like how they come here? Doesn't that relate to them or at all, or how is this thing? So those subtle things are very important for us, since the verse from Bhagavad Gita implies they don't have to. Don't have to. This is not supposed to, It's not compulsory. You don't have a reason to come, which lies here, When you have some kind of material desires, then you have to come to material world to fulfill them. So, but the spiritual living beings, acharyas, the eternal associates of Krishna, never come here for that reason. They come with a reason which they picked up in the spiritual world from Krishna. So from Krishna's desire to unite with those living beings, the souls who strayed away in material world, that desire is carried by the preachers when they come here. So there is no material reason, there is no reason here, why would they come here? The wealthy man doesn't go to bank, beg for money or beg for loan. He goes deposit there. And if he's wealthy enough, he goes to different banks, because who knows, one bank goes up and down, so he goes in different banks. He has like 20 bank balances in different banks to make it sure my money is safe, They don't pick it up, We come to material world to earn, to get a loan, So this is the saying, borrow, steal, or I was the saying, but get the ghee. This was some philosophy of a materialist person who said that the ghee is the most valuable thing in the material world. So either you steal or you borrow, somehow get the ghee. So this is the principle of wealthy and happy life. Get the ghee. Those days the cars were not so popular, bank accounts. But besides that, when we still acting here in a material world, there is a mercy. There is some kind of blessings involved in those activities which are brought by acharyas, by spiritual souls to material world, by which we can actually get the highest blessings. So the verse which I kind of got today was from Brahma's life, when he was also got a mission, and his mission was quite complicated. Just imagine us thinking when I came here in Simhachalam, just a few days later, Ramananda Prabhu, he mentioned that would be nice. Not like we are planning or something. Would be nice to have a new temple for Nrsimhadev. Right? So up the hill there. Some of you have heard of those ideas, right? Oh, it's the first time. There's some kind of mental building already going on in the minds of devotees. Yeah, it would be a nice temple. Just a couple of days a day I walked around, and go some high areas, and it's like, wow, such a nice house, But why it's so nice? Of course, nice valley, it's a little bit higher, not so much fog. Yeah. But one thing I realized when the house is there, you sit there in a balcony, and opposite valley, there's a church. You've seen the church up the hill there, right? So you sit in a balcony, and you see the church, and you're spiritualized. So many times also when a Vedic planetarium was starting in the minds of devotees, they were also planning to have this huge building, Vedic style like this, and going up and up and up and up and up and down. But somehow later on the whole thing was a little bit changed, and it became more appreciable by the Western thinking, and therefore was almost a copy of the St. Peter's Cathedral in Rome, the biggest church, biggest thing so therefore it kind of made impression. Also this Vedic planetarium whole idea is there. But Brahma had quite a bit of a more complicated task by him, and he was supposed to create the whole universe, all the planetary systems and stuff like that. And not only systems and planetary systems, there was a huge thing before that of creating different levels of consciousness for the living beings who come here. So that was quite a bit, and how they interact, and how it's this whole thing. So therefore, the verse is saying that Sri Bhagavan, he himself is talking to Brahma. Maved agarbatas tandrim sargahudyama avaha tanmad yapitam hyagre yanmam partyate bhavan. The Supreme Personality of God is said, "O Brahma, O depth of Vedic wisdom." You're really praising him. That's Krishna's habit of praising his devotees. You are the depth of Vedic wisdom. Be neither depressed or anxious about execution of creation. So obviously, Brahma was a little bit of in anxiety. And first of all, his anxiety was not only creation as such, since it is enormously complicated. He was also aware of the illusory potency of Maya, which is the potency of covering your knowledge and covering your relationship with Krishna. What this Maya does, that's a task. Pulling down avaratmika shakti and pratyapshakatmika shakti. Do two of them. One is pulling down, other one is covering your knowledge. So, and he who prayed to the Lord says, okay, I am being entrusted by this work, but please make sure, give me a blessings that I will not be put into illusion in an illusory potency of yours by creating all this thing. Since you get so much attached and absorbed in the complicated work, you forget your ultimate purpose, why you came here. Actually, the purpose was coming out from here. It was not stay here. That's the thing of living being, which, as we taught before, the acharyas, the living beings who are always liberated, they come to the world, they don't want to stay here. They come with a mission to preach and get out again, you know. So this is the mission which also Brahma was supposed to be remembering. So therefore he prayed to Lord, please, please, I am entrusted with this complicated work, but give me a blessings that I will not be bewildered by my own activities and absorption to creation of this material environment, so on. And therefore he says, don't be anxious about execution of creation. And the last sentence of the verse is, what you are begging from me has already been granted before. That's an interesting thing. Since there's a similar verse given in Bhagavad Gita, who remembers the theme? Whatever is supposed to be, it is happening already. All those armies are killed already by me. So you can be only the weapon, the instrument in my hands. So I decided they're going to do it. And not only that they did, I decided how they're going to die. Since each of the persons have their own destiny. This is the one of the functions of Supersoul. It's a kind of a witness of all our activities. And according to those activities, according to those things which you have done in the past, and what we want to achieve in the future, and the relationship with others, the Supersoul has decided already your destiny. Maybe not in the last details and on which side you will fall when you get killed, left or right, doesn't matter. But the thing is, by whom or what is going to die in a bed because of the heart attack, or you're going to die in a battlefield. So if you're a Kshatriya, there's little chance you're going to die by old age. This was the system of mothers. The mothers of Kshatriyas, well, the Kshatriya woman, they knew if they give the birth to the son, what happens? They're going to live longer than the son. That's the situation. The proper Kshatriya will never outlive the mother. That's true. Husband too, probably. Kshatriya is proper marriage. So the thing is, you have to have kind of a prediction. And also, yes, here, Brahma has given assurance. Whatever you wanted when you came to this material world to create has been provided by. Don't worry. So when we are thinking of the book marathon which is coming, we think this is sometimes not easy task, especially when the quantity of books arrived. Have you seen how much books came? 27 pallets. Each pallet is like hundreds of kilos. I think the small one is like 1,000 books on each pallet. So 27,000 books came just a few days ago. We were putting them in the warehouse. But that's nothing. That's nothing. Just a couple of days ago, by the grace of Chinmay Prabhu, we were listening to the class in the Pujari there, given by Bhakti Swami, and he was praising Prabhupada. That was just day before Prabhupada's disappearance, the class, and he was praising the things that Prabhupada done. And one of the enormous tasks, one of the huge I know it's a kind of the seven wonders of the world. This is definitely eighth wonder, for at least, Prabhupada is done when he was printing the biggest print of Bhagavad Gita. You know how much there was there? What's the quantity? 1 million. So imagine, this is 27,000, right? So that's 27 pallets. Hare Krishna, Shri Shri Prahlad Lakshmi Simha Bhagavan Ki Jai. So it's 27 multiplied by 10 would be 270,000. Right? That's 270 pallets. 10 of those cars coming here, and that's only quarter. So that means 27 cars by 10 by 4. It's like 1,000 cars, like these trucks came here. And that's a small books, Bhagavad Gita is like 4 size thicker. So multiply that by 5 more. So it's like 5,000 trucks of that one. 5,000 trucks. So just before printing, it took 74 full carriages of train just to provide the paper. That's 1 million copies of Bhagavad Gitas. And, amazingly enough, a few years later, quite soon, they had to reprint it because it was out already distributed. So these are amazing figures which was achieved by Prabhupada. Of course, not by himself, thanks to his servants and as he said, his spiritual master, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati, he sent helpers for him. So, since it is famous for Senapati Bhakta, that was prediction given that Prabhupada came, that he is a general. But what general alone can do without the soldiers? What Pandavas could do without the army? Oh, the army was smaller, but still. The thing was inspiration. So all those devotees who helped this unbelievable task were given the assurance which originally was given by Krishna. Whatever you want, it's already given. Whatever the armies you want to fight with, Arjun, I am sure, and I'm assuring you, they're already killed. You just have to be instrument. So that inspiration, that class which was given by Maharaj, was the main theme is whatever you want to have in your activities, you have to ask or you have to acquire the mercy of Lord for that. At the same time, we can say the mercy is already there. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came, he predicted, yes, there will be every town and village chanting Krishna's name. And even more, what about the chanting? What about building temples? Just a couple of years ago, I was in Delhi, and devotees, they were quite inspired. And first of all, I was inspired to hear the quantity of temples they have built. You know the approximate quantity of people in Delhi? Just a rough figure. About 20 million. 40, right? Sorry. Not better, 40 million, okay. How much is in Berlin? Really? Okay, how much is in whole Germany? 80 million. Just imagine, in a Delhi currently they have full-fledged 14 temples. So Germany could easily have 28. We have 1, 2, couple, 2, 3. 28 temples could be opened easily, quantity-wise. And I definitely can say, for one reason, the people earning here and being able to donate, how much more? For sure. How much the average Indian guy is earning, Of course, I would say that the big guys are donating more than the small ones, but that's a story of Ramachandra, you know. Doesn't make just the Hanuman to make a bridge. It makes all these small spiders too. So the congregational endeavor together is the one who will build those miracles. And if Krishna is having this ultimate liberation party, you know, then he doesn't care about expenditures. You know, what happens when the party goes on? You know, who remembers the last party he was before devotee? Okay, don't dwell mind on that too much. Let's make a festival. You know, let's make a festival of Rath Yatra somewhere in Kerala, or you know, what's the last one? And when you go there, what do you do? What would you do there? You know, I want to go to Rath Yatra. You know, what would be your activity? Same books, right? Yeah. If you are guest, like you don't go first time, you know, you are not really devotee. You hear about the festival. What do? You just walk around and have a look. If you're going there already with some arrangement of service, you will be doing some cooking, some cleaning, some rat cart pushing, some decorations, some things like that, you know. And that so much depends on how you identify yourself. If you identify yourself as a guest in any party, what do? You just walk around, have a drink, you know, enjoy the party. You know? And that's our mentality. Krishna is making here in material world a huge liberation party. Liberal, you know. There's different parties in the world. Left wing and liberals and the communists and Krishna has liberation party here. But if we feel like a guests, we will be here just walking around, enjoying stuff like this. If you are a friend of the house owner, you come to the party, what straight away you do? You help serving out. You do this, you do that, and after everybody leaves, you clean the stuff, you know. And that's the difference. When you have those relationships close, as closer as it gets to Krishna, you desire to help him. Not to be just a walking around and enjoying guy. You want to have a connection with what do you want? You know, I came here to help, not just like, okay, I sit around and have a drink. I came here and I can help you. You know, I have time, nothing else to do. You know. Those guests, let's them enjoy and dance and sing, you know. We'll do the background operations, you know. The things which are necessary to provide the whole things. So the people who want to dance, they need the place to dance. That means needs a temple. Well, best thing, you know, you can dance in the home as well, but that's really not really in a Sankirtan. You know, Sankirtan means together, you know. Although they're saying, you know, food for life for me and wife. You heard of that? It's a ISKCON program, food for life, right? And food for life for me and wife. That's a very small scale food for life. And same thing you can say, yeah, Sankirtan, me and 2 kids, you know. You're lucky, you know, maybe 1, you know. But yeah, that's Sankirtan, you know. Not really. Sankirtan means congregational chanting. So to provide a congregational chanting, you need the temple, you need a festival, and somebody needs to organize that. And somebody needs to print the books and needs to carry out. So whole this thing is connected together. So if we talk about book marathon, everybody who engages in the thing, it is having same spiritual benefit. Same is like in the pujari department. Many times there's a strong conviction to have a proper benefit and a full party of I don't know, Krishna's birthday or Gaur Purnima birthday. You have to go yourself and bathe the deity, right? You heard of that? You have this kind of a little bit mentality. I want to bathe the deities. But the scriptures, the Narada Pancharatra says, you get exactly the same thing if you do yourself or you watch the devotee, the pujari do it. So if you watch Pujari doing the arti, it is exactly the same benefit if you do it yourself. Not a 1% less. You don't get the benefit of the things which you don't see, because he's still washing the whole paraphernalia and preparing it. You don't get benefit for that. But if you do the holding in front of it, you get the benefit of this. So Prabhupada was also, he was encouraging, and he said, unless there will be the sharp thing as a ship, if the ship has, well, there is ships, they call barges, sometimes in rivers, they don't have the sharp end, it's completely flat, square piece of the metal floating somewhere in the river, and the things carry the stones inside, and they go pretty slow, like barges. But the proper ship, which is going in a full speed and a full strength, has a sharp nose. So this sharp nose in a Krishna conscious movement, it is the Sankirtan movement, particularly book distribution. So the book distribution is one which will carry on the movement. And one of the reasons is simple. Devotees get old, right? Is it a new thing? No. And I just imagine if you don't distribute books for the new upcoming generation, the old devotees become older, they pass away, and nobody's left there. Movement dies out. It's as simple as that. Movement dies out. Since there should be a generation, therefore the principle of passing up the knowledge is parampara, the spiritual system of passing the knowledge from one generation to another. And you can do, as a Protic Vedic system would be, oral tradition, and also have to be books. There's one verse which was inspired by one of the known people to many of you. It's Adipurush, Adipurush Prabhu? Have you heard of his classes? He's born in Ukraine. And single-handedly, he translated the whole, which book? Chaitanya Charitamrita. The whole book. Just single-handedly translated the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita from English to, Russian, whatever, to the Ukrainian language. So he's amazing. He's been in Vrindavan since, I think, 90-something, like 98, 95, something like that. Over 25 years he's in Vrindavan. And he's preaching and he's giving seminars and so on and so on. And when the other person who is well known in Switzerland, the temple president, Krishna Premrupa, he had an interview with him. And there's, I think last month there was this Books Are the Basis, the series of YouTubes, yeah. And he asked few of the kind of his realizations. And Adipurush said, one of the things that I remember myself from reading of books and so on was not so much absorption you get from reading a book, as much as you get from associating with devotees. Because if you read a book, you can have a mind trips of comparing the knowledge that you read. If you interact with devotees like face to face, absorption is complete. That's proper Sankirtan. And that's amongst devotees. The same thing is about the people, the devotees who distribute books. If you want to get complete absorption in a books, in a mission, you have to explain to others. This is famous teacher joke. It's given in different versions, and he also gave the version, his version came from Bhaktivedanta Maharaj. He said, well, the guy who is giving a seminar, he was complaining. He said, those new generation guys, they're so slow, so dumb. I'm explaining one time, I'm explaining second time. I start to understand myself. Even after that, they don't understand. So the principle of realization is, if you want to have a Vijnana, realized knowledge, you have to give that knowledge to someone else. So therefore, giving classes, I'm always happy to do that, since that gives a little bit of a input in my Vigyan as well. Since more you talk to someone, or somebody asks you the question, you have to think yourself very nicely how to present it, proper situation, proper context, and also you have to be doing what you do. I think Prabhupada gave a nice example of, this came from Chanakya Pandit. Anyways, the story was going on that the mother came to the saint and she was complaining that my kid is not very healthy. He is eating too much sweets. Can you tell him not to eat so much sweets, since your word is like, you are saint, you are the sadhu, And I said, yes, okay, just come in 2 weeks, so I'll talk to the kid. And of course, in 2 weeks, mother comes with a child and saying, this and that's a kid, And he says, look, eating sweets are not healthy. And it's coming from such an old person, probably it was beer or something, The parents, the father respects him, the mother respects him, so he's saying something I have to do. And after the meeting, mother comes to him and says, well, why did you ask me to come after 2 weeks? You know the answer? I had to stop it myself. So the thing is, if you have to give instruction to someone, you have to do it yourself. You can do without it, it will be less potency. And therefore Prabhupada mentioned that there is a 3 kind of devotees. The beginning ones, the middle, and advanced ones. And every of those devotees can bring any person minimal at least to their level. The beginning devotee can bring one to the Shraddha, to the faith. The middle devotee, the Madhyamadhikari, he can bring him to the stage of anartha nivritti, to the purification process. And the Uttama Adhikari can bring it to the lava Godhead, to his stage. Doesn't mean it will happen, but it is a potency. So if we are humble enough, and that's quite a bit of a importance on receiving the blessings of Krishna, to be having this humble attitude that I'm not the one who is qualified. Krishna also said himself in the Bhagavad Gita, he's saying, be an instrument, don't think yourself as being the cause. I am the one, coming to the same verse, I am the one who killed them. If I wouldn't have this plan, whatever endeavor you have, you will not be able to do that. And we know from Arjuna's life later on, when he was entrusted with the queens after the whole thing happened. And some simple dacoits, they came to attack. He couldn't defend, since his power was gone. Krishna was gone from this world, and Arjuna couldn't defend. So if we, there's also a verse, who knows the Bhagavad Gita, Paurusham Nrishu, I'm the ability in the man. So this is the difference of materialistic people who are thinking themselves, I'm the cause, I am the ability, I'm the strength. Devotee has completely nullified that delusion by understanding that every ability in me, whatever I am able to do, it is due to first of all, the potency, the strength is coming from the potent one, Bala. Prabhupada mentioned that if we want to do anything, we need also material strength, physical strength, but also we need mental and spiritual strength. You can be a strong man. I think it was Prabhupada mentioned once this sculpture, the famous sculpture. I don't know, it was a big man sitting there like this. Who was that? Rodin, or I can't remember. One of the sculpture artists made this thing. And Prabhupada was laughing. He said, he is so much absorbed in his mind, he cannot even move. He's so mental, Like, strong man sitting like he's mentaling out. He can do nothing. So you need a spiritual strength. You need a mental strength to move with anything. So that strength, Bala, is Balaram. He's coming from Krishna's expansion, so not even directly. So the same cheat potency as mentions by quite a bit of time, Bhaktivedanta Purnaswami mentions, the cheat potency, the potency of the soul, the pure soul actually, is coming from parampara. So if we are connecting ourselves through the books, through the instructions, through the humble attitude to the devotees, then we are able to receive the proper spiritual potency to distribute books. There's also a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, unless you are empowered by Krishna, you cannot preach. Right? Verse, I can't remember. It's definitely there. I prepared like 12 pages of things, but it's sometimes boring to read. But it is true. Another interesting verse which is quite important, stick to my mind, is from Madhya Lila 20. Maya mugda jiva nahi svada Krishna jnana, jivera kripaya kaila, Krishna veda puran. Well, no, it's verse 2. The conditioned soul cannot revive his Krishna consciousness by his own effort. But out of causeless mercy, Lord Krishna compiled Vedic literature and its supplements, the Puranas. So, in Prabhupada's commentary to this verse, and actually introduction in Bhagavad Gita also, he quotes this verse, he explains that unless we understand our basic position, which is given by those books, starting with Gita, with Puranas, and so on, unless we start the first thing of identification of ourselves as spiritual souls, and lose identification with the body and our lazy or crazy mind, we cannot be starting spiritual progress. So Sambandha, the basic Sambandha guru, the spiritual master who gives us, he quotes those words from Krishna, from Vedic literatures, explaining you are not this body. So if you are a spirit soul, you belong to Krishna's party. If you think you are yourself a body, you belong to the guests, the material party. You will not be able to do any potent service, what to speak of distributing books or helping someone else to distribute books, unless you identify yourself with the soul. If you think you are body, you think what body needs. And there will be famous list on the kitchen, which I'm also... I cannot make fun of it because it's Prabhupada's handwritten paper, but it was thing, health is first. Then comes japa. Then comes service, and then comes reading. Oh. I don't want to defeat Prabhupada, but I want to defeat the context in which is usually given. Because there was one Mataji, I can't remember her name, she was so absorbed in the service, similar like Devahuti, which we talk now, she completely neglected everything else. So therefore, the situation comes to conflation, same as Devahuti Mataji. She was so much absorbed in service that she neglected her bodily, that she was practically, at some stage, unable to do it. So therefore, Kardama Muni said, yes, now it's time to revive you. Back to the health, back to the beauty. And Prabhupada also. There is always balance in devotional service. Too much knowledge, it's speculation. Too much activity, karma, right? You cannot do either of them. There's jnanis and there's karmis. Devotees always in the middle. They understand, but they do. They act, but still remember Krishna. You cannot take honor in a disbalance. So this golden way in the middle will be always there. Always remember Krishna, but still act. Whatever you do, still remember Krishna. So when those two things join together, activity happens. So same thing, if we want to have a Krishna's party, we have to understand we are spirit soul. We belong to Him. Then we are able to help. Otherwise we are guests, we're just sitting and having drinks and prasadam. Nothing else. And then you finish prasadam, your belly is full. Why you need to do the service? You are full. That's mostly the principle of karmic life. If you have enough money, why would you work? Why would you work? You have enough money, you have a computer, you have food, you have a wife, you have a house, you have a car. Why would you work? If you have a big bank balance, this is one of the big things that, Indians and I would say Germans too, they think, if you have enough money, one day I will not work. And this is for old people also, yeah. Okay, you work whole life, and then you go to pension, and then you enjoy life. Right? Then the enjoyment of life comes after 65. No? It's true, But what spiritual people do? Prabhupada, when he was already over pension, at the age of, long gone in the pension, he started the whole thing movement, not enjoying life. He could have, collected maybe from his pharmacy business some money, but not. Actually, it was Krishna's finger too. As far as I know, his whole business just burned down. And he took it as granted. He said, yeah, Krishna's, obviously he's not meant to be. And there was instructions, that's the thing, there was instructions quite early from his spiritual master. Please if you have money, distribute books. What do we do when we have money? Do you think, okay, I want to print some books? Yeah, maybe. Maybe if I get blessed by you, I buy a printage cartridge for the printer there, and I start printing something again. I don't know how about the books, but maybe at least the paper is in the wall, showing you the service plan. Some printing will go on for sure, hopefully. So therefore, introducing the whole book distribution kadha, I would say there's two major points. First of all, understanding who you are. If you identify with your body, you will not be able to serve. Of course, there is also room for that. And interestingly enough, we can say varnashrama as such, it is based on bodily concept. Yes? On your mental capacity, on your conditioning. Devotee is not conditioned. But until you are conditioned in certain ways. And Krishna gives already. You're conditioned as a Shudra, or Vaishya, or Kshatriya, or Brahmana. Even Brahmana, you are conditioned. Right? So each of them also can distribute books. I gave already a class mentioning those things, so those remember, maybe remember. Shudra can distribute books, why? Why? Why would he distribute books? Because he knows how to do it. It's art. It's art how to do it. He knows how to approach people, how to talk to them, in order for them to buy books. There's whole books of how to make people be attracted to you. Take Carnegie. There's all these things. How to talk, how to program neurolinguistically people to convince to buy anything. Anything. It's art of selling. That's Shudra. Why should do it? Of course, he can maintain his family. And Prabhupada introduced, yes, you are Grihastha, you can maintain yourself just by distributing books, nothing else. And there's some of them, they were quite a bit. Yeah, I know Navin Nirada, he had so much money, he built a whole house in in Mayapur, the guest house. I've been in Mayapur, in a guest house, in the opposite Goshala. There's a whole guest house, a 4 or 5 story building. He just built off the book distribution. So I think Grihastha could build a house for himself and wife and the mother-in-law as well, probably. Or the same house, maybe. If he's more an Indian Vedic mentality, they live together in one house. Otherwise, separate. So, Kshatriya, why would Kshatriya distribute books? What's the principle of Kshatriya? Yes, a little bit outwardly, a little bit more deeper. Yes. Honor. Honor, and other word is righteousness. The proper thing to do. This is dharma. Kshatriya is working in it's honorable thing, yes. It's not some nonsense activity. This is like proper honorable thing to do, You fight, but in the weekends, you're a weekend warrior. You heard about that? Weekend warriors. In London, there's a weekend warriors, Because it's a proper thing to do. You don't care about money. It is art, don't care so much art of tricking people. You do because it's righteous thing to do. It's Kshatriya thing. And Brahmana would give. His idea is to give knowledge. Yes, that's the most valuable thing in the books. It's not book about yoga. It's actually book about proper knowledge, how to act, how to be detached from the material world. So all these things depends on how we are situated ourselves in our conditions. Still, we can distribute books. Weekend warriors, we can catch the guests, when you come to the temple and sneak to them and distribute some book. We can also introduce the Prabhupada distributing books. Heard of that? The Prabhupada distributing books? In London Soho Temple, they put around the Prabhupada tables with all different books, like piles of them. And every guest would comes, Prabhupada's books, They take a book and put donation. And amazing enough, Prabhupada is always number 1 in the Christmas marathon. He distributes most books. Because many devotees, they are a little bit shy to go and announce themselves, I'm book distributor, I know these books. They just come, they just take money, just buy it and then sell it again. So Prabhupada ultimately is the best book distributor in London for sure. So many tricks like this. I also distributed books for a while, and one of the things were like same trolley filled with Bhagavad Gitas, 20, 30 Bhagavad Gitas. You just go house to house, you knock to the door and ask maybe. And different incidents, people get bitten by dogs, call upon police and stuff like that, but still they were doing. I don't know, bring it subject or not. Just a couple of years ago, there was this period of being not able to do service for 3 days. Very, very famous in the last couple of days. Mataji, 3-day off period, My wife personally had experience of those days. When she went out, 9 o'clock, 9:05, all the pains were finished. For a whole day. And when she rolled back in the house, 6, 7 o'clock at night, all the menstrual period pains came back. And she had this experience for 3 marathons. Try it out. Well, at least that part. Yeah. Things happen amazingly. Krishna, he is giving blessings. He will control your bodily needs. He will control your mind. Just surrender this process which was most important to the whole parampara. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was starting to distribute books already. He was printing books in English and sending to all different libraries and important people. Bhaktivinoda Saraswati, he sent his sannyasis, but somehow or another special blessings received by Prabhupada. And even more, by simple grihastas, by simple people. But the thing is, question was no doubting. Yeah, Shyamasundara and Gurudas. He was sent to London, and they were same as Prabhupada, no money at all, And then Prabhupada said, go to London, establish temple. And somehow, by Krishna's grace, I met George Harrison and the Beatles, and they donated the whole manor, and they printed out the books. Yeah, Krishna book was sponsored by George Harrison, and also the records. The Hare Krishna temple. What was that record? Was beating all the charts for years. They sold more of those times you were selling those records. They were selling those records more than anything. It was just top on the charts. So if Krishna wants, he can do it. But the thing is, we have to kind of identify ourselves of the party members, not the guest members. If you identify with the soul, I'm a eternal soul. I've served Krishna. I can do amazing things, distributing hundreds and hundreds of books. Or at least be completely absorbed in that mentality while I'm helping those who are out in the streets. Either. Okay, 5 minutes, maybe some question. Yeah, I would like to ask you, maybe you can speak a bit about personal book distribution. Well, there's no kind of extremely joyful or something like this experiences happening in my distributing in Letland and Latvia. There was those times you can remember, it was amazing when you go out and you come back with empty trolley. Those days, 20, 30 Bhagavad Gitas. I didn't distribute anything else, just Bhagavad Gitas, the thick book like this. Trolley full and just go. And it was kind of normal because that was supposed to be happening. There was people who were standing in a train station, an underground tunnel there. There was table, and there were like 5, 7, 10 different types of books, and you can choose. And people were preaching there also, next to the table. So you have a reason, like I told a couple of days ago, there's a prasadam, nice prasadam, and while there's a prasadam, you can talk how nice it is and how it's connected to Krishna. So also there was books, and many times people who were standing next to books, they had this discussion while other people buying and some not buying. Gypsies do that, the trick. Some lady is selling something. This is Shudra trick. If she's selling something, some other gypsy woman comes around and, what do you have there? Okay, nice. And people, oh yeah, come gathering around. Devotees were doing that too. Yeah, one was selling, another was going around in completely karmic clothes. Okay, show me this. Okay, tell me that. And it was like, okay, he's interested, There's a queue building around, and people, such a huge crowd, like 20 people. And, give me one, two, give me. Oh no, last two. Oh, who more? Who gives more? So those things were happening. Of course, some people who were not Brahminical thing, they were not able to value the knowledge in it. They were telling everything, starting from, it will improve your health, Yeah, it's about health, yeah, it's about yoga, about pranayama, about breathing. Yeah, there's a verse, here's the breathing process, oh yeah, hear about that. Yeah, I'll take a book. These things. And there was a prison program. Also, we were some devotees going around, and they are distributing to the prison guys. And for them, there's nothing to do. They just sit and read all day long. And there was one guy who got so fired up, he was buying books inside the prison, distributing some other prison guys. Yes. And he came out, he became devotee. The famous book distribution, one of the top ones in Ukraine. He's traveling around all the time. He used to be a prison guy, And I think there was Ruchi Prabhu from the Gauranga Bhajan band. He was also the mafia guy, no? You know Ruchi? He was Hare Krishna Swami time. He was also playing, I think, bass guitar. Probably what else? he was real, tough guy from those areas. So every area you enter, which is closest to you mentally, you are able to distribute a book. My personal experience. Well, my last personal experience was quite unusual, since I, as a grihasta, accumulated a little bit of money, and I went to Mayapur. And I said, well, what's the best thing to spend the money? Buy some books. And I was going to the shop and buying 5, 6 Bhagavad Gitas and going around and giving to the Indian people. And for them to get something for free was unimaginable. Free? Well, donation, okay, I understand. Okay, I can give it to donation. So I distributed 60, 70 Bhagavad Gitas a day. One day. Until my money was finished. I didn't have my savings anymore. So I said, okay, I done my job. But that's the thing, yeah. If you have a grihasta mentality and you don't think, or you're not confident enough, thinking that people give you enough money, just buy a book, Because you're going to spend that money anyway, somehow or another. So buy a book and give it to someone. So that is the most pious credit you can ever earn in the mature world, giving to someone a book as a donation. There's a verse, and if you give full moon night, if you give Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a couple pages of benefits you can get just giving one book as a donation. So you can sell, you can give, some things like this. Okay, that's my few experiences like this. I have my friend who really suffered because of book distribution. But it's a little bit of a tough situation to explain. He was bitten by a dog. Very unusual place. Because he was having those books like this, 7, 8 books like this. And he was ringing the bell and opening a door. And just by opening a door, that huge dog, German Shepherd came and on his level, bit him, He had to spend a week in hospital. But he's a saintly person. Vaninatvaso, I think he's also Ukrainian or something. He spent for many, many long years in distributing books in India, in Vrindavan, and also other cities. So he's kind of Vanaprastha too currently. Very, very pure person. So anything you want to purify your mind and get blessings of Krishna, that's a books, because there's a living being cannot progress by himself, by Veda Purana, by Krishna is infesting himself in the book for everyone who wants to read. There's no need. Of course, as Adipurush said, for his personal experience, book is one thing, but when you interact with person too. Because my first book I got as a donation. It was E.G. Journey to the Planets. And some lady, who I don't even remember her name, she just gave me the book in a library when I got my coat back and I was going out, and she goes, okay, Matthew, you look interested as a person, maybe you want a book. And I got this book, E.G. Journey to the Planets, and I don't remember her name or how. I met her, I don't know. Didn't happen. Somehow didn't shoot the whole thing. But then I met devotee on the street, and he was selling books, and he was explaining everything in the context, and some kind of jump start from the heart to heart, or some kind of spiritual spark happened there. Then I straight away, in the first evening, I started chanting Hare Krishna for 40 minutes and going the train back to my hometown. So any just small book or big book, whatever you can distribute, it will make a change in the person's mind for sure. Okay, let's finish here. Anything else? Sorry, I didn't. I don't have much experience with books. I'm not a book distributor. Every time I was approaching my Guru Maharaj book distribution, he was saying, just serve devotees. That was the instruction. Same as year before, I went to Delhi to see him, and I said, well, you are serving Maharaj, you're serving shalagrams. Maybe I should you're showing example what I do. No, just serve deities of temple deities. So every person has their own mentality. What the spiritual master gives you exact spot where you are the best. So for me, somehow, out of many years, the book distribution was the comparatively smallest. I was in charge of brahmacharya ashram, in charge of building temple and these things. So those things I can tell you much more, but distribution was comparatively small. But very, very intense, and the traveling thing. Yeah, Padayatra. We did Padayatra 3 years in a row. It means traveling with a bowl, and every evening there was a program and singing and dancing, and of course book distribution. But you don't remember exactly those people to whom distributed and so on. Maybe they come after a year, 2 years, come back into the temple, but then suddenly maybe it was, oh yeah, remember you gave me a book, and it was like, oh, okay, thank you. But you don't try as a devotee to take credit of that, because you didn't become devotee because of you distributing book, because he was reading the book written by Prabhupada. So the proper mentality would be, no, it's not my credit. Okay. I didn't print the book. And the knowledge was inside, not mine. So the humble attitude in any situation is a key. Since, as I started there, you have to identify yourself with the soul, and you have the goal, pleasing Krishna, make him happy, to bring the souls to him. But activity as such is a service, and the proper mood, pradyumna, is this humbleness. Humbleness of not taking credits, and Prabhupada never took credit for himself.
I'm thinking that, like you said, Prabhupada, he always thought, okay, what my spiritual master wants me to do. So he did that, and then how can you think that he's...
Yes, exactly. He always gave all the credits to his spiritual master. It's true. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, book distribution ki jai, Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bom. Bito Prabhu ki jai. Mat Prabhu ki jai.